It was a day in autumn 3 years ago. I still remember all the scenes from that day. The day that totally changed my thoughts on cultural inheritance. At night, I was walking inside Gyeongbokgung, the main palace of Joseon, which is a country that existed before Korea. The moment I paused, the familiar structures there, which I saw in the news or in the textbooks every single day, looked completely different. It was not that I've never visited the palace before, but on that day, I could see it from an entirely new perspective. While staring at dark walls and buildings of Gyeongbokgung, with only a few lanterns shining feeble lights upon them, questions like these popped into my head. What did the people in Joseon Dynasty think as they walked past these walls? How dark was Gyeongbokgung's nights without such bright lights like now? Was the palace considered as a comfortable home by the royal family of Joseon? From that day on, I was able to cherish all the other artifacts more, and I realized that cultural heritage is an important part of our history, the elements that make up our culture, and something that helps us develop our identities. So today, I want to talk about how cultural inheritance shapes our identity, and also why we should preserve them. Before I go deeper into the topic, what exactly is cultural inheritance? According to UNESCO Institute of Statistics, cultural inheritance includes artifacts, monuments, a group of buildings and sites that have a diversity of values such as symbolic, scientific significance. There are two types of cultural heritage, tangible and intangible. Tangible refers to physical heritage like these pyramids in Egypt, and intangible refers to skills, arts, or practices related to communities. But today I want to focus only on the tangible side of the cultural inheritance. Like I said before, cultural heritage is not just some tourist attractions, but something that helps me connect to my ancestors. To share my own experience, I've once visited a city called Dongyang where an important battle took place during the war that broke out in Joseon. At that time, I went to a government office building where Lee Sun-shin, an admiral deeply respected by Koreans, worked and gave commands during the war. Now, imagine. You're sitting in a gay pavilion with cool breeze hitting your face. In front of you, you can see a whole wide open sea. Then, boom! A bunch of warships comes into view. The ships are shooting bombs, arrows, and guns all over the place. Fortunately, that part was just part of my imagination. But after this experience, I could see it as an actual event that actually happened to my ancestors and could develop a deeper connection to it. Then why is preserving cultural heritage so important? There are mainly 4 reasons. Firstly, preserving cultural inheritance can help maintain cultural diversity. It provides opportunities for people to learn about various cultures and see unique cultures in person. Secondly, preserving cultural inheritance can help with education. It's important for us to know about our cultures before getting to know others. And for that, going to well-preserved historical sites for field trips can be very effective. For me, I once went to a national museum for a field trip, and surprisingly, I remember most of the things that I learned that day, even though I don't really remember the things that I learned, or maybe just heard while dozing off in history class last week. Just by seeing this, you can see how important it is to see the artifacts in person. Thirdly, there are economical benefits. According to United Nations World Tourism, the total revenue from international tourism reached $1.7 trillion in 2023. In this era of active global tourism, having a well-preserved historical sites can attract tourists. Of course, visiting amusement parks or doing exciting activities like canoeing might sound more appealing places to go to, but still, historical sites can be great options for tourists. Last and most importantly, it can be a legacy for future generations. Just as our ancestors worked hard to preserve cultural heritage, we should do the same for future generations. We can even prevent our culture from fading or becoming extinct in the future. Wouldn't it be too sad and depressing that future generations can see all these beautiful and precious artifacts? National heritage are often thought to be preserved only by the government or by professional companies. However, individuals like you and me can do it too. Let me introduce some efforts that I'm making to solve the barrier a little bit. I'm currently frequently visiting websites or Instagram of Cultural Heritage Administration to stay tuned for any events or information. I know it might sound strange opening Instagram and seeing a bunch of old spoons, forks, or buildings, but it's actually pretty interesting. The administration does a lot of events and introduce fun facts that we really don't get a chance to know in everyday life. So if this sounds interesting enough to you, I recommend that you follow their account too. Another thing that I'm doing is I'm currently visiting palaces with my friends and explain any knowledge I have about palaces with them. While I was telling them stories that I know, I could see that my friends were becoming more curious and interested. So I think it was a meaningful experience for both of my friends and myself too. Another thing that I'm doing is I'm currently watching documentaries related to cultural inheritance. One that I've recently watched was about rebuilding the artifacts. To further expand my passion, I've recently enrolled in a program that offers professional education for students who wish to volunteer as a professional guide at palaces, and I'm really looking forward to becoming more connected with cultural inheritance after this program. So, what are some efforts that each of you can make? One simple way is paying attention and being interested, which is the most crucial thing. The more interest that people put into cultural inheritance, the more support that the government might give and the easier it will be to preserve it. Other than that, you can report any damage on cultural inheritance. To take Korea as an example, you can report the damage easily if you go to the website of Cultural Heritage Administration. Of course, it's hard to see any of the artifacts actually damaged, and even if it is, it's hard for normal people like us to find it. But still, if you do, you could totally report it. Or, you can simply put a local heritage site in your travel plans. Not only visiting these sites leave long-lasting impressions, but they also provide a chance to learn deeply about that place and create new vacation memories. Last but not least, you can always visit a library and read books about cultural inheritance. Because books, are the easiest and the most simplest way to reach out on a subject that you're not really familiar with. I know it's hard to read history books. To be honest, I've slept a lot too while trying to read those books. But I think it's still good to try, because you never know if that one last page that you read before you fell asleep will provide you with the most crucial information for you to understand more about cultural inheritance. To give one little tip for people who are struggling with reading history books, try choosing a book with beautiful pictures like these ones that might be good for your wallpapers. You can start by just staring at the photos, and once you fully enjoy the pictures, then you can start reading the text next to it very lightly. To conclude, I think cultural inheritance shapes our identity, provides a sense of community, and offers educational and economical prosperity. I think preserving cultural heritage is like building a bridge between the past and the future. Just as our ancestors continuously built a bridge for us, I think we should do the same, so that the future generations can see, feel, and experience all these precious artifacts. Thank you.